Alright, replay review, Danke or Rahu Vasquez on Leoric on Volskaya Foundry. Initial thoughts looking at these drafts. Got Tychus, Nazebo, Deckard, Mal'Ganis, Leo versus Anduin, Vala, Burden, Chromie, Samuro. Um, Initially doesn't look bad. Deckard, Mal'Ganis is a decent pairing. Deckard is good on the map. Nazebo's good on the map. Tychus is fine. Um, Leoric's also good on the map. Specifically because this map always goes late, and Leoric's late game is very strong. Gazebo and Decker are just solid on point. Tychus gives you a lot of threat on their tank. Muradin, you don't have much to lock Muradin down, so you might have issues with him jumping away from Tychus. And he also has attack speed slows on Tychus. And that skill shot stun that's easy to hit when Tychus is standing still. But still, overall, it's something he'll have to consider. Follows something that's going to be a threat to you, she scales very well into the late game. So you're going to have to keep an eye on that. Chromie also very good on the points. Um, Most notable to you right now is the offlane matchup. You got Leoric versus Samuro. That's very hard winning for Samuro. Can easily remove your drain and just sort of beat you to death. Um, so your goal just in the off lane is to rotate and clear as quickly as possible and not really interact with him and not let him stall you out or bait you into taking any fights. In team fights, you're looking to mostly sit on the Muradin. The fact that Samuro's their off lane also means that in team fights, he's not really a drain target or someone you can pressure. They don't really have anyone else up at the front for you to pressure either. So in terms of team fights, you're a little bit disadvantaged here. Muradin's the only one you can really sit on and threaten. Vala, Chromie, Samuro all kind of just farm you. They run circles around you. So you have to be a little bit intelligent with how you approach fights. Also keep in mind Anduin Pull can save from Entomb. Some consider it a soft counter. I consider it sort of a wash because then you're still forcing Pull and you have plenty of other engage with Mal'Ganis and Deckard. So if he's using Pull on Entomb, he's not using Pull on those, and you guys still get a kill. Um, yeah, let's see how this plays out. All right, first things first, you've decided to start going top lane. Um, Two things to talk about here. The first is you've chosen to split off from mid, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Um, you go mid at the start in general to clear mid before the enemy team and secure prio for rotations. So you can rotate before the enemy team and potentially get to the next wave before they do and create just rotational priority, more control over the map, etc., etc. In this case, I don't hate splitting off. Follow's gonna be stacking something, auto attack if she's smart, and so not being there just feeds her less stacks. You can definitely get the wave clear advantage, but if you're all there, but not feeding Val stacks is fine. You do also have Tychus AFK, so that may also be why you decide to split off, because you're just not going to get priority if Tychus isn't there. You can wait a little bit just to see if he um, starts coming. The other thing to talk about, you've decided to split top. Top isn't the off lane on Volskaya. Bottom is. And this is for a couple of reasons. So you want the off lane to be the least important lane. That's the basis you can go on for any map, and then the off lane for every map makes sense. So on Volskaya, you can either have the 4-man rotating, the default for most maps except Towers of Doom. Towers is a little special. The 4-man rotates between two lanes. So you can either have the 4-man rotating between mid and bot, or between mid and top. Now, what does mid and bot get them? It does get them control over where the first objective spawns. First objective will always spawn here, so mid bot does mean they're always closer to the objective. It puts them closer to turrets, and it also gives this little conveyor belt they could use to rotate between from bot to mid quickly. What does mid and top get us. It gets us control over. It gets us closer to the siege camps. It gets us closer to this healing camp, which is contested territory, and you little less control over the objective, but you're still there. But you're still close enough to there. And how it ends up working is this top mid rotation is better. Turrets are important, and you should be getting them at 1 minute, but they don't necessarily give anything that you need people in lanes for. So comparing the turret to the siege camp here, the siege camp, when you cap it, will push down a lane. So you're directly rewarded for getting control of that lane, because then the siege camp will apply even more pressure in that lane. The turrets, by comparison, it doesn't really matter what the lane state is next to them, because they don't do anything for the lanes. So even if like your bot lane's shit, as long as you can get the turret, you're fine. Now, if you're like completely out of control in this area, and you just get the turret invaded, that's not great. But it's far enough over to your side that that's usually not a problem. Usually you don't have to worry about your camps getting invaded by default as long as you're keeping an eye open. It's not that big of a deal. You also get control of this contested healing camp. So if you ever are in the area and get a kill or two, or get just big lane priority, you can take the healing camp. You can't do that if you're down here. And then the conveyor belts are decently important, or they do help speed up the rotation, but only one way. They make you go from bot to mid quicker, but not from mid to bot. If anything, they kind of slow the rotation down a little bit, since you can only kind of rotate here. But we'll ignore that for now. And the objective control isn't hugely important. Like, being over here is slightly more objective control, but the ability to take the healing camp and control the top lane to push She's camp down is usually considered a lot more important, because also the objective doesn't do much. Like, even if you're in control of the objective as it spawns, that can still shift. It's up for long enough, and there's not much to do on it besides just sit there, that the control can definitely shift over the course of the objective phase. Also, as the off lane, having this conveyor belt to rotate up to mid really quick is nice. Because actually, I forgot to mention, the mentioned point of this review, and we'll be looking over everything, hence the, lengthy explanation on off lanes. But what we're specifically looking for is, you were wondering when to soak and when to go with the team and fight. So we're specifically going to be looking for when you should be hitting waves and when you should be with the team this game. And this conveyor belt helps you get to team really quickly, especially for this first objective. If you're the off lane, you're soaking bot, you always have the option to quickly shoot up to objective and help the team if necessary. And oftentimes, for the first objective, that is kind of what you should be doing. Again, because the objective takes so long, you can all just sit bot, pick up another wave or two, and then just shoot up whenever you have an advantage, or whenever your team is going in, or whenever it looks bad. You can all basically be there instantly. So yeah, splitting off from the team at the start, not necessarily a bad thing. You would do that in general if you think it's just you can't fight for prio mid, like they have stacking heroes, so you don't want to fight for prio mid. Or if you want to get super prio in the off lane, because even if the off laner is there and they rotate out at the correct time, if you're starting in your lane, you can probably clear slightly faster than them and get a bit of a rotational lead, or you could bully them as they try to come down. So if you're the loser in this matchup, like you are here with Samuro, you could try and just clear ASAP and then rotate away. If you're the winner in that matchup, you could be here and just, as they come down, try and just hit them a whole bunch to put them at a disadvantage immediately. Those would be the reasons you would not start mid. So in this case, volley stack, you maybe just don't want to risk that. So we're just going to go to the side lane, but you're at the wrong side lane. So yeah, see, you're not doing anything. If you want to go on the side, if you want to be on the side lane, you move up. Just sitting behind the fort doesn't do anything. You want to always have map presence. Now, this is going to be no wave, but you could be like over here, checking out, scouting, getting vision, because right now, there's barely anyone showing it. You could be getting vision up here for your team. Um, Either here, you could be sitting here if you want to stall somewhere on rotate. I wouldn't recommend that, especially because Simro isn't going to go top if he knows his lanes. But should be doing something proactive. Also, not great to be sitting in the middle of lane. Like if you're waiting for minions, it might as well sit in a bush just so they don't have vision of you. Like they have vision of you right now, they could still not have vision for you for a couple seconds as you wait for the wave to crash. So um, if you want to clear the wave instantly, you can start walking up here. You don't have to wait for the wave to immediately crash, but it's fine here. All right. The better wave clear efficiency. So we'll go over this at the end of the video. We'll go into try mode and show it to you. But there is a very specific way to clear waves as Leoric, and not doing it that way slows down your clear a lot. Now, you may not always have the opportunity to do that if you're under pressure or just any other extenuating circumstances. But in this case, where you have zero pressure on you, you're just looking to clear the wave ASAP, there's no reason why you can't be doing the proper wave clear form. So, wait till the wave crashes, and I will show you. Alright, so wave's crashing. So, you start hitting the front line. Now, the issue with that is your big wave clear tool. You got two big wave clear tools. You've got your cleave, and you've got your Q. From this position, neither of them can hit the entire wave, and that just means you're wasting damage. You want to have your Q. You want to have both abilities hit as much of the wave as possible. So that means you want to be to the side of the wave, either here or here, and cleave off the mage minion. So any attack that's a cleave, which you can tell by if if none of this is filled up, or if just one of them is filled up, then your next attack is going to be a cleave. So if that means you hit the mage minion, which will cleave the entire backline and the entire front line. So 2 cleaves on the mage minion, and then crit not the mage minion. Usually just crit frontline minion, or if you missed cleave on a minion, which is not unusual, just crit them, and that puts them to basically the same health as they normally would be if you had cleaved them. And the reason you don't crit the mage minion is because you don't want to kill the mage minion, because the mage minion's where you cleave off of. If it's dead, you can't hit the entire wave. That is also why you hold your Q. You want to save your Q until Q will clear the entire wave. So level 1, what it usually looks like is cleave the mage minion, kill, crit like a melee or something, then cleave, and then a Q will finish off the wave, and you can like crit to set up for another 2 cleaves at the start for the next wave if you want before you Q. Either works. It doesn't really save time to do either. So level 1, it takes 4 Qs or it takes 4 cleaves and then you Q. Very quickly, it goes down to 3 cleaves. Around mid game, it's 2 cleaves, and then later in the game, you can basically just do 1 cleave and Q, and it clears the wave. So doing it like this means your cleaves are not hitting the backline minions at all, which means you're clearing the wave slower. And I'll show you this later, just keep that in mind. This wave would be cleared by right now, but instead you need to take like another 2 or 3 auto attacks, which is significant portions of time. Alright, wave's cleared. I like that you're rotating here. This is a little bit too much though. You don't need to step up that much. You can kind of just be here to hover and look for something, but you don't really make proactive plays that much. Cube, sure. I'd just be rotating out right now, honestly. Nice little W, pressure Murden a little bit, and you need to be back in lane, because the waves are crashing. You're not missing any soak, though, so that's fine. Now, here's the problem with this. Follow-up is being where she wants to be. She's in the correct rotation path. You hard lose this matchup. Leoric is vulnerable to almost any ranged hero in the game. He's very easily kiteable, so if she's just gonna pling away at you, get free stacks whenever she can hit Q on you. If she's auto attack, it would be even worse for you, but fortunately she's not. So you can no longer rotate here. You're just kind of stuck because if you try and clear the wave, you lose a bunch of health. So you should just kind of be sitting near your tower. Oh, there we go. You can step up a little bit if a minion dies, step up just enough to get the XP globe, then back off. You just don't want to free Vala, free stacks, and free damage. Yep, so that's good. So this with this XP globe that dropped, you need to be getting, and you didn't, and it faded. Yeah, so just keep. It's worth sacrificing a little bit of health for XP globes, especially since you're fealty. You'll get them back for minions. This is actually good. You can chase her if you have your W on her. If she just lets you hit that, you can chase her. Like mounting here, just kind of sitting here. Now, and no one's been getting bot. And granted, no one, if you were bot, no one would be getting top because Tyke is AFK, so you are down one for just in general. I wish someone would have rotated to get bot, or really that you had been bot and someone was rotating to get top, but it is what it is. Got an AFK. Alright. So generally with your W, you want to set it up with your Q to slow them, then hit W. In that case, you kind of just stood there and let you hit W. But try and get the regen globe before you leave. You could have just like a little step down to get it, and then you walk to the left. You would have been fine. You have E to get out. You're in no danger of dying here. Mount up whenever you're not doing anything, and also you can step up a little bit. Like you're letting 2 XP globes go. Get those, nice. Alright, yeah. Bad wave clear again. Hey, you've got your Tychus back. That's good. Cool, clear, and you can rotate here. Like you could be looking to pressure Muradin. The building damage is okay. I'd honestly rather you just rotated. Gets you in a better position. You don't push that quickly as Leoric. Yeah, so same story here. You just wanna mount up and just kind of hover outside of her auto attack range. It's honestly not even worth clearing the wave because you want any of the waves you clear means it pushes slower towards you, and you want it to push as quickly as possible so it's near your wall and you can collect as much of the experience. Because there's another XP globe over there that you're letting go. Make sure to grab that regen globe. Good. Use the crit on those, yeah. Your auto attack canceled because it died, but you weren't critting it initially. Alright, yeah. Just clear this. And now really what you want to do is get 7 before this, and you have time to do that. Well, you don't because no one was getting bottom. But normally if people were getting bottom, you'd be about level 6.5 right now. And you'd have enough time. If you were bottom, you'd have enough time to just catch another couple waves bottom, and then come up to and fight the objective once you have 7. I also wish this camp was taken, but it is what it is. Yeah. Bad wave clear patterns here again. You're really slow on the rotation here. You could have been mid already, basically. Because you spent so long clearing that wave, it's almost not even worth it for you to rotate, because another wave is going to crash top. Alright, grab this mid wave. It's not worth fighting this. Yeah, take the mid wave. And then honestly, I'd be pinging like on the way top. I'd be pinging talent tier advantage or same talent tiers. Maybe even open chat when you're when you have a second and say like getting 7 or something, just so your team knows you're not going to be here because you don't want to be here. We're like this is not in danger of being capped by the enemy team or really any team, and they're barely contesting this. You don't need to be here. So after this mid wave. So that's why the poking W's, as I call them, usually don't get value. They're so easy to dodge. So staying here, I wouldn't. I would just ping like danger or whatever and head on top and try and get 7 before the enemy team. Since you're here, good Q, hits the entire team, Semiro ints. You love to see it. Alright, poking W again. Try to always set up your Qs with Ws. Even if you hit the Ando in there, it would be a max range drain. He just has to step back a little, and your W breaks anyway. So best case scenario, your W still doesn't do anything. If you want to throw a poking W, better to throw it at like the Vala or walk down and throw it at the Muradin. But even then, I really would like to see Qs to set up your W. So I don't. You're also low here. Like, really, you're not doing anything. You can throw a tap. You should be top, though. All right, cool. You even got a kill now. Your team is now up in people. If you leave, it's a 3v3. Fine. They're low. They should just back off. You're not going to do much here, basically. You don't meaningfully threaten the Chromie. Alright, there you go. You got 7, but you have 7 at the same time they do. You could have gotten 7 30 seconds sooner. See, yeah, so you're standing in the back here. You're not meaningfully contributing to the fight. You're not threatening Chromie. If anything, you're just kind of eating potions that the rest of the team could eat and looking pretty on the point. So you could be soaking, say, this bot wave, which is where I'd be going now, not top. Bot's open, so I would be mounting up and heading towards bot to push that out. And again, this conveyor belt means at any point you can step on it and be right back in the fight if they start pushing in. Poking W again, much rather would have preferred you step up, throw Q, and throw W. Even just without the Q, throwing W at someone in melee range is a lot more consistent than someone at max range. Yeah, you hit a W, good. Yeah, so you're just like brawling a whole bunch. Keep in mind, this is not a fight you win, by the way. Like you're full health. Arcanus is you and Arcanus are mostly full health, but you have no one else here. Like Nazebo tossed a couple spiders and he's going off to tap. You have no healer. Your Tychus is in base. You have no damage behind you. There is 1, 2. That's somewhere. There's 4 people here. You're fighting a 2v4. Call it 2.5v4 because like maybe I think Nazebo threw I think there's some spiders in there. Maybe. Yeah, we're gonna call it a 2v4. Yeah, and Arcanus lands this massive thing. You're hitting big abilities, but you just don't have the damage behind you. You're feeding Vala stacks. You're just eating free damage. Fortunately, Nazebo comes back and kills the Vala, who kind of rolls in an ints. Again, you're too high. You're too low health to contribute here. I like clearing mid. Wish you'd done it a little bit more efficiently. Pick up the regen globe. Poking W once again. Even if that hits, in like the tiny universe where it does, Zero just walks away. It doesn't do anything. W is your big trading ability. When W is up, when it's on someone, you're doing a whole bunch of damage and you're healing a whole bunch. You're good. It is like you can fight. When W's down, pre-13, you basically don't do anything. You can like auto attack them and Q a bit, but you just die to people hitting you and aren't really providing much of a threat. So anytime you use W and you miss, that's 10 seconds where you're not in a position to really be useful for your team. What the hell? Huh? Huh? Alright, so fortunately, your Chromie appears to have disconnected and ran straight into your team and decided to die. So you will be winning this team fight. Use Q to set up your W on someone. Nothing because it's just Samuro who's also disconnecting and inting. Alright, so I did read a little bit of Pirate Bear's summary before this. And I did see a notable couple of times where he just said like, oh, the enemy's inted. And this appears to be the case. Do not take this as you're doing something good. They're literally walking into you using no abilities and dying. You could have been catching so many waves here. Your team fight contribution here is pretty minimal. Like you haven't contributed. I wouldn't say you've contributed anything major. Like you got the Samuro kill, he would have died anyway. You just happened to hit the last blow. You've gotten like a couple W's off, couple Q's on Samuro clones maybe. But overall, most of your time here has been spent just on the point, eating Deckard potions and looking pretty. You could have gotten a lot of value, like even just half the time if you were bot. Again, this I can't stress this enough. This conveyor belt means you can be in the fight very quickly. You can like whenever they're not directly on point, even if when they are directly on point, as long as they're not providing a meaningful threat, you can be bot clearing. And as soon as they step on point, or as soon as it looks like it might get bad bot, then you can rotate up instantly and be there to help your team. You cleared like maybe a mid wave or two. Going top here is fine, even though offlane is bot. Tychus gets bot, you get top. As long as we're getting all the lanes, it's good. Which slightly better. You can clear this slightly better. It's a bit of a stacked wave, so the normal wave clear practices are a little odd, but still, generally want to hold Q until it clears the entire wave. All right, you can clear this wave, and then we're gonna look. We're gonna rotate mid and look for a kill because we're gonna have Entomb. All right, select your Entomb and start booking it mid. Also, keep in mind you saw Chromie rotating up here. The fact that you guys are backing up means that there's nothing to look for mid. So we're gonna just rotate mid, catch the soak. They all rotated down to Nazebo. Nothing you could do about that. Just get the wave. Yeah, so you cleaved the mage minion, or you critted the mage minion, which means your cleave is not hitting this guy. Still, that was a better wave clear than I've seen you do at any point before. You cleared that wave very fast. So, arguably, you could look bot here, because you're up level 10. There's perhaps a good Entomb angle. But I wouldn't. I agree with your decision to rotate top, because Tychus is dead and Zeba's getting a camp, so there's really no follow-up here. But if those were not the cases, this would be a good time where you would look for a rotation. Like Leoric is almost very very basic offlaner mentality, because you have your very big obvious signal for when you should rotate to a team, because Entomb is very high value, it's instant. So whenever it's up, you can always look to rotate to the team, drop Entomb, get a kill, and leave. A lot of offlaners have that button. Sonya has Leap. Blades doesn't really have anything. Dahaka has Z. Stuff like that. Better wave clear practices would have cleared this wave already. Maybe not already, but definitely a few seconds later. All right, don't care about this Chromie. Rotate out. Clear the mid wave. This is good. You're doing good double soaking here. You let the wave split up a little bit, so now you can't cleave it. You can definitely get the wave before it crashes with your wave. You just have to know whether the wave will all aggro on you or some of it will split off. If some of it splits off, that's bad. But now you can look to rotate. It will be a 4v4. So Chromie's top, which means if you rotate, you'll be a lot ahead of Chromie. For all intents and purposes, Chromie is your opponent here. Samuro actually hasn't done any laning this game. Tychus isn't there, but the power you can get with an Entomb here could potentially still make it worth. Like if they don't back up and you get an Entomb like right here, that's fantastic. So you're looking, that's good. You could have rotated slightly faster. You sort of went over here and then down. If you're looking for a rotate, you want to get there immediately, because if you see a good opportunity for a rotate, that opportunity is usually time limited. For example, like the longer you take to come down here, the more time they have to run away. So let's see. We're running in. Entomb this right here. You have two options. You can either Entomb the Anduin or you can Entomb the Muradin after he jumps. The Muradin's going to be difficult to Entomb, so what you would actually do is Q him, throw a W at him, and hold Entomb until he starts backing up, and then throw it. I would definitely do the Anduin instead, for a couple reasons. Anduin's going to be easier to kill. B, more importantly, Anduin has pull. We don't know if pull's been used, but we're going to assume it has. Let's actually double check here. Or we're going to assume it hasn't. Yeah, it's up. So if you Entomb the Muradin, Anduin can just pull him out. So an Entomb on Anduin here will usually lead to a kill. Your team's a little far behind. There's a chance they don't walk up and hit him in time. Maybe they just get distracted by Dezebo zombie walling his own tank, or Dezebo hitting a minion here, or this Samuro zones them off. But this is still the best Entomb opportunity you're going to get. The Samuro, think of Samuro essentially as unengageable. Samuro played well is almost impossible to pin down or kill. His entire purpose is to just be annoying, be unkillable, and just kind of do things. This Samuro is snorting something, and we've seen him multiple times just kind of press all his abilities and run at you and die. So frankly, if you entomb him, there's a 50-50 chance he just still dies. Honestly, he might still die here anyway, just by like right-clicking his way into your team and exploding. But if we assume it's played well, which I think is a good assumption, you want to, in my opinion, assume that the heroes and your enemies will be playing well, and then get pleasantly surprised when they end, rather than relying on them to do something stupid. Because if they don't, then you've made a assumption on their skill that will result in you not making a play work. So if you assume the Summer's good, you can't entomb him. If you assume this Anduin has pull up, an entomb on Muradin is probably not going to do anything. That means Anduin is basically your only pull target, or your only entomb target, and you are in range to entomb him right here. And we don't take it. Alright, Anduin gets away scot-free. Looks like Samuro is going to do the int special. Yeah. Okay, so see. Now that's the pull I was talking about. He would have died if he didn't get pulled. But again, if we assume Anduin has pull up unless proven otherwise, so this entomb doesn't do anything. Alright. Play failed, unfortunately. Get out of here. Chromie pushing top wall, I honestly think is not a huge deal. You pointed this out when you posted the replay initially. She's getting a little bit of damage. If you had gotten a kill, which there was a decent chance you could have, it would have been worth it. If you entombed the Anduin and you got the kill, that's fine. You get the Anduin, you get the kill, you rotate up. So we should be mounting and rotating immediately. This is Giga Int. The fact that you're clicking anywhere but up in this general direction is a horrific misplay. You've used your big team fight button. There's nothing else for you to do here. Alright, good. Rotation, don't hit the wall. Clearing this on the way is fine. Just commit to clearing this wave. Commit to clearing this wave. You can rotate up a couple seconds afterwards. Leoric's already, or Tychus already has top. You being here doesn't do necessarily anything better. You've missed like this entire mid-wave worth of XP. Unfortunate that Tychus rotated. He kind of shouldn't. Should have just let you do it. Alright, and bad wave clear practices are meaning this wave isn't cleared already when it could have been, which means your clear is slower. Your rotations are slower. Alright, as soon as that wave was done, you should have been mounting up and leaving. If you're worried about Chromie stalling your mount, which is valid, start moving a little bit, back up, or whatever, and then start mounting. Walking up here, absolutely not the play. Look at this mid-wave. Yum yum juicy. Look at this top. Not going to do anything. Chromie basically clears the entire wave right here anyway, and she's just going to have free damage on you. You don't have any push here. Yeah, you're just going to be eating damage and not getting anything done. You could have been clearing this mid-wave, which directly pressures this mid-fort. Good job of dodging Chromie's skill shots, though. Alright, so poking W. I'm gonna go back here. Show this poking W. It worked because Chromie didn't move, but all she has to do is, she's at the edge of the range. All she has to do is start walking backwards, and it breaks. She stands still, walks forwards, and then uses her long stasis cooldown to block it. So I guess you forced out her stasis cooldown, yippee. Alright, and mount up and leave. Like, this, whatever you're doing here is not worth missing these mid-waves. You could have, if no one responds mid, by this point, mid's basically dead by all the waves you're pushing into it. Minions do a lot of damage to buildings. There's not too much you can do to help your Tychus here, unfortunately. Let's go back and double check. I'm pretty sure there's basically nothing you can do here, though. Yeah, like, maybe you can step up and stall this guy, but even that's spooky, because you don't know where anyone is. Like, if there's a Vala, if everyone's behind him, which basically everyone is, but especially if there's a Vala there, you immediately have to blow your E, and even then you might die. Like, this guy's kind of just dead. You don't meaningfully provide peel for him. Again, you could arguably try and stall this guy, but and maybe he gets distracted on you, and maybe you don't die for it. But even then, you don't really stop him from jumping on and stunning the Tychus, so, like, you just get out here. Unfortunate. Alright, that's choose a direction. You started walking down, like you want to clear mid, which is good and correct, and you should do that. And then you started walking up, and this just means you're taking more damage from Samuro that you needed to not, or that you didn't need to take. Mid waves, very important. You don't meaningfully do anything here. If they decide to push as a team, you can't stop them. You're doing a whole lot of nothing sitting behind your gate. Could have been clearing a wave and looking for a rotate with a team, and drop the Entomb right now. Actually, this is Decker, isn't it? I'm controlling. Alright, don't drop the Entomb. I thought that was Nazebo for a second. Alright, now this is a bad Entomb. So, if this was Nazebo, great Entomb. It's not Nazebo, you have no damage follow-up, bad Entomb. Because you don't... Oh, actually, Nazebo's rotating up here. Never mind, it's a good Entomb again. Ah, Nazebo forgets he has an R button. You hate to see it. That man... So, I really would have still waited for this Entomb just until Nazebo's in range a little bit more. But if Nazebo drops all his abilities here, including his R, you get a kill. He drops his spiders, drops a late wall, doesn't press R, and yeah, nothing happens. Alright, you should be rotating out here. Yeah, you've used your big button, you're low on resources, nothing you're gonna do here. This is just some, like, random fucking brawl. Which, like, holy shit, is that the real Samuro? There's no way, dude. This man needs his Samuro privileges are revoked. Alright, cool. You randomly won this fight again. You contributed nothing to it. You're still contributing nothing. You really should be clearing waves. Look at this. Juicy wave mid, juicy wave bot. You're still contributing absolutely nothing. The enemy team is not going to contest. They're low, they're back here, they're not positioning like they're going to contest. Even if they do, it's still a 4v4. Trust that your team can win a 4v4. If they can't, even if you don't trust that, you can see on the minimap when the enemy team starts walking into the point and you can start rotating up. Until then, you should be getting waves. I would want you to get mid and bot and just start double soaking between those two. But at the very least, you could be clearing mid and just pushing it over and over into the fort to get the fort. Right here, you're not contributing anything. And this is kind of a pattern. She just vaulted in. She got Entomb, she was dead. Holy. Oh wait, she just got caught in a root. She's dead. Okay, and so pulls down. So when you have Entomb up right now, you can drop an Entomb on these guys when they die. By the way. Right now. Right now. Hit the Vala right now. She's dead. Unfortunate. You should be looking for an... So, if you're going to stay around here, you should be looking for an Entomb. Here is another good option. Either of these two. I would go for Vala, because Chromie probably has her timeout up again. Yeah, but since you know that Anduin's pull is down, like, Entomb is a death sentence. So, rip it. Rip it. Rip it. Okay, I mean, I guess Vala ends anyway. Rip it on the Anduin. You're still contributing nothing. You're not providing, like, that Vala dies whether you're there or not. Your big contributions to the team fight are Entomb and providing pressure on their front line and being a front line for your team. You're not doing any of these things right now. Like, you're kind of up there, so I guess one could call you being a front line. You're, like, taking damage, I guess. But that's not really helpful. Like, Mal'Ganis does that too. Just like in this one-dimensional fight of you're over here, they're over here, we're just gonna hit each other. Mal'Ganis could be here instead. And even then, just taking random damage isn't useful. Alright, see. So if you've ripped Entomb sooner, you get a kill. You've chosen to rip Entomb at literally the last possible second when you're about to die and your team's back here, so this Entomb actually does nothing. And you die. Yeah. So, in the course of the last minute or two, you've basically been top lane, sort of sat behind wall for a while, not doing anything. You stepped up and fought like a temporary 2v, what, 3? 2v3, I think it was. With your Deckard, you threw an early Entomb, which maybe could have gotten a kill, but I still would have held it until damage follow-up is closer. Because it's not like they were trying to run away, they were just hitting you. You dropped an Entomb that basically did no CC. And then you won the fight through basically nothing of your own. You had to step back because you took a whole bunch of damage for that Entomb, sat behind wall a little bit, waffled around. Your team just kind of won by default, I guess. Like Deckard landed a big sleep, Samaro did some inting, so the red team backed off. So you didn't contribute to that win, and then you stood here for a while, uh, long enough that your Entomb came back up. I just stood here, like, I guess, ate some damage. I don't think you contributed meaningfully to pretty much anything. Uh, you waited so long for your Entomb to be, that your Entomb was back up. You failed to rip Entomb even when multiple kill targets presented themselves. Uh, and eventually, when you did land Entomb, the team fight was lost and you died. You still got the objective, but I don't think you did anything. Meanwhile, there was plenty of waves. No one was soaking these. You could be like level 15 and a half by now, by the way. I'm not even kidding. You could almost be level 16 if you were just hitting, if you had spent the last 2 minutes soaking instead of being up top doing nothing. You would be almost like level 15 and a half or so, and this fort would be dead. Now that you're dead, you should definitely stay with the team. You don't collect soak while you're dead. There's nothing for you to do down here. Your use when you're dead is you can provide free vision by just like ghosting around and they can't stop you, and Q provides some marginal value for your team. So you should, and W gets you back up sooner. So you should be over here just sort of hovering on top of people, QWing them to get yourself back up sooner so that then you can go to waves and soak. Hovering around down here does absolutely nothing for you. That Q doesn't do anything, by the way, if you didn't know. Alright, now we're soaking. Right, clear this wave. Alright, be mounting up. This soak doesn't matter. I mean, I guess it does. Like, Tychus is getting mid. He really shouldn't, though. I would much prefer that after you clear the wave, you're mounting up and going mid, because Tychus is probably mid because you aren't. We're gonna assume that's the case. In which case, if he sees you mounting up and heading mid and clearing mid, that means he can join the team where he wants to be. You missed an XP globe there. Stat pick your 16. You should be getting immediately out of there. I think you're a little bit surprised. You could have started walking away like a second sooner. You can definitely start walking away now, though. And you're fighting. So you're up 16, and I respect the decision to take a fight up 16, but you have no one with you. Most of your team is top. You got a Tychus here who can maybe do something. Maybe if you rip Entomb on Anduin and block him off, Tychus can like dash forward and you can kill him. Maybe. This absolutely is not the case, though. This is the second time you've thrown Entomb with no follow-up. Alright, Vala Ints. This is not something you did. I mean, I guess you kind of baited her to do so, but like she inted. You didn't make any special play. That the play you made was objectively bad, and they just A, didn't kill you, and then B, Vala just kind of stood still and died. I like pushing this here. You can do that. Clear this wave. Better to kill these minions. Minions will do more damage to the forts than you will, So the quicker you clear the enemy minions, the less they're killing your minions, and the quicker your minions get under fort to hit the building. Much better all around. I would be rotating mid here now. Now there's a unsoaked mid wave. Lycus has the rest of this. Cool. Alright, now it's a little bit of a, what do we do? We're going to pick up mid wave is the next thing we're going to do. Top wave's too pushed up to effectively take. Alright, your choices here are you can either rotate to help your team do this camp. Tychus wants to do this camp, and I don't entirely disagree. It's free, it's good for your team to have. So you can either help them take this camp, or you can rotate down to help your team push bot. Personally, I would probably be either option is okay. I think I think helping them take this camp is better. Definitely can see arguments for rotating down to bot. But I think camp is closer, and the quicker you do camp, the quicker these two start helping out the team. If you rotate bot, maybe you get a kill. Maybe like Vala rolls in, you get an entomb, another easy kill. But Murden's difficult to entomb, and he's back at the moment. And if Vala plays well, which again we're going to assume, even though that's not going to be the case, this Vala is going to end like another 20 times before this game's over. But if we assume the Vala plays well, she doesn't really present an entomb target either because she just stays under the fort. Yeah, I like helping them on this camp. If you're gonna do a camp, this camp is much more valuable than this camp. The siege camp provides a bit of push, which like can be nice if not attended to. But the Cimmeral's coming up soon; he can clear it. And then once it's cleared, it does nothing. Generally, late game, the later the game goes, the later camps like this, or the less camps like this matter, because they just get cleared so quickly. And anyone who was attending lanes is maybe delayed a couple extra seconds by having to clear them, but they're just not going to do much for you. The healing camp, meanwhile, is always useful for your team. It's essentially a mobile tap for the entire team. It scales with your health as well, so it's always going to be healing you relatively the same amount. And the later the game goes, the more important the team fights become, and healing camp helps you win the team fights. So if you're going to do a camp, healing camp is so much better than their camp here. Lyric also doesn't really do camps quickly. After this, we're going to clear top wave. Good. And then we're going to rotate down and clear mid wave. Better clear makes the minions die quicker, means you can get to mid wave already by now. Generally, even if the waves aren't clumped perfectly, just think of what gives you the most value for your trait and your Q. You want your cleave to be hitting as many things as possible, ditto with your Q, and you don't want whatever you're trying. There's going to be something you're going to want to cleave off of, and you're going to want to leave that. You don't want to leave that alive as long as possible by not critting it and by not queuing too early to kill it. After this, we're going to rotate top. At this point, like, bot's unsalvageable. Whatever happened, bot, yeah, so again, bad wave clear patterns. This wave could be cleared already. Whatever happened, bot, happened, bot. You're probably going to lose bot fort. Your goal here is to A, get your team level 20, and B, keep providing pressure in these top two lanes. You're not even going to look bottom for the next, like, 40 seconds. No. Okay, 3 of your people are dead. Your rotate here does nothing. Your rotate here does absolutely nothing. Like, best case scenario, you walk in, you, spooky, I guess, and then you walk away because you realize there's absolutely nothing you can do. I guess, I mean, best case scenario, you walk in, they all stand still, and you get to kill all 5 of them. But that's not going to happen. You're much better off continuing to apply the pressure top and mid, because again, all of them are bot right now. There's no one that's really going to stop you. It's UML Ganets versus the world here. That does not work. You have no damage behind you. You're just eating slowing sands, by the way. You need to be pathing up to this potion. Your goal, if you're gonna fight here, is well, let's go over it. First of all, don't stand in slowing sands. Alright, coming in. Don't hit this Samuro. For all you know, it's a clone. No idea if it is or isn't, but it's not worth it. Again, Samuro is incredibly slippery. He shouldn't be anyone that you should be able to kill. You should be pathing above the slowing sand, down over here, and threatening their backline. Yeah, he's a clone. You just spent like 5 seconds hitting a clone and eating massive slow. So now you should be pathing up to this potion, because this could be another clone. We have no idea. So you're standing in slowing sands for even longer, taking even more free damage. There's a potion right up here that's going to restore you to full health. We want that, and then we're going to path down towards Chromie. Instead, we're standing in the slowing sands forever. Finally hit your E. Poking W does nothing. Yeah. So you were doing so well until you decided to rotate down. So, recap the last few minutes of this game. We were mid, we cleared out mid, and then there was our team pushing bot and people pinging camp. I would have preferred you to go get this camp. Or go help bot. Instead, you decided to go to this camp, which does basically nothing. In the process of you getting this camp, they died bot. That's not your fault. I mean, if you went bot, maybe you stop it. But I don't think you're necessarily going to need to go bot. I think staying top was fine as long as you're like getting this camp or doing something else. So, as you're in this camp, they die bot. That's a signal to you that you can't rotate, because now you're just down numbers, even if you do. So you start double soaking, which is good. That's what you want to do. Your goal is to get 20 and to keep applying pressure top and mid. And what that means is either they come to stop you top, which means they're no longer pushing bot and hitting your team, or they don't come stop you and you're getting damage on both of their top 2 buildings. So you start doing that, which is good. And then at some point you decide, hey, 3 of my teammates are dead. Maybe I should go rotate down to them. That is your big mistake here, because once they're dead, like 3 of your teammates are dead. It's you and Mal'Ganis. There is no world, except like Hyper Mega Clown Land, in which that gets any value. And fortunately, this isn't Hyper Mega Clown Land, or I might just like uninstall the game. Having to look at that. So because this isn't Hyper Mega Clown Land, you get nothing. Your bot fort still dies. Mal'Ganis also dies because you and him decide to go in, and like I asked, you just get out while he doesn't. If you had just stayed top and continued double soaking, both these walls would have been gone, getting damage on both of these keeps, and you probably be not 20 at the moment, but you definitely be a lot closer, and definitely in a position where when people respawn, which they are in 16 seconds now, we're going to not count the Mal'Ganis death, because if you don't come in, he probably doesn't go in either. And yeah, so in this like 10 seconds when people respawn, you're probably in a position to have 20 and take a fight here. And then you win the game. So again, you want 20 here. Nope, do not get baited by teammates. Okay. Now we want to fight this. What Merden's doing is a little bit illegal. He jumped in, by the way. If you want to entomb him, it was free. You can still entomb him, and that means that Tychus kills him. Definitely drop entomb here. Anduin probably pulls, but that's fine. If you actually were really enterprising, you could have priced E, ghosted up, and gotten Anduin entomb, and actually that is the better play. Because you see Chromie top, so it's Vala Samuro down here. I think you are, especially with this potion you pick up here. Yeah, I think if you just tap E, ghost forward, unghost, drop entomb, Anduin dies. 100%. He can't save himself. Alright, now, yeah, you do that way too late. Now, this is where you want to ping your team to like, I don't know, danger or retreat, and go mid and catch this soak. Because look at this, you're almost 20. Samuro isn't there, he's also soaking. You're taking, oh, this is so painful. You're taking a fight, you're taking a 44 fight down 20, because remember, Mal'Ganis is dead. So this is a 44 straight fight, and even talent tiers. If you just wait a little bit longer, if you just go grab like this mid wave and maybe one more wave, either bot or mid, you get 20 and you win this fight. Fortunately, it is this Vala is like this Vala and Samuro are in like a competition to see who can commit the worst possible crime against their champions. So she just dies for this. And now you absolutely don't need to be here because now Vala's dead. Like this is just your point. So we're gonna mount up, we're gonna go mid, and we're gonna clear mid. No, we're not. Drop in tomb at least. If you're gonna stay here, okay. So if you're gonna stay here and not rotate up, and Anduin face checks you, drop an entomb on his stupid idiot face and get that free kill. Like, easy entomb. Easiest kill of your life. I'm not even lying. Like, this guy is dead to rights every single way in the game. Even if both of your teammates just, like, put on blindfolds and turn off their monitors and don't hit this guy at all, I think you actually just kill him on your own. Fortunately, we're saving Entomb for next game. Ian, please, I'm begging you for the love of all that is holy, get level 20. There we go. Now, snap pick your 20, which is Silence Entomb, and drop it on this Chromie. Even if it's not Silence Entomb, drop Entomb on this Chromie. Or this Anduin. I'm begging you to please Entomb people. Instead, we're staying up here and we just die. Yeah, okay. So if you're going to be up here and people are going to face check you, the punishment for standing next to a Leoric is he entombs you. You did take Silence Entomb. So the punishment for standing next to a Leoric at level 20 who has Silence Entomb is he Silence Entombs you, and his Nazeebo with Ravenous Spirit presses R and you die. You missed a step there and didn't entomb them. So actually, there's no punishment and they just kit you for free until you die. Now, because you're dead, your team is going to lose this fight because you didn't use. Okay, never mind. Huh? My lord, red team is This isn't. That's like. Yeah, I could even pick like stupid bottomless flask. I see. I need to watch this like a couple times here to fully understand how this Deckard doesn't die. Because Chromie stasis is, I guess. I don't know. Whatever. Okay. I guess you don't die. Your team should have lost. Again, you've accomplished. This is like the third or fourth time, by the way. You've been in the vicinity of your team and accomplished nothing. Like, you came in here. You didn't kill you didn't kill anyone who was in front of you. You kind of walked on the point. Vala just inted to your team. You didn't do anything to get that kill. And then your team wins the point because Vala's dead. Then you stand up here. Again, don't do anything. Eat a bunch of damage and die. And then your team just kind of wins for free, I guess. Because the enemy team can't kill Deckard and like can't press their buttons. I don't really know how they didn't do that. I don't have time to. I don't feel like evaluating where all their abilities went. But yeah, I don't actually know if you meaningfully contributed to any team fight you've been at here. I'm trying to think. So yeah, I don't think you have. Maybe Mitch? I'm throwing it in my mouth, by the way. So there are plenty of things to do on this map here. This is perhaps the worst one. Yeah, no, I think this is actually the worst option you could take on this map. That's not just like being AFK. Things you could be doing. You could be matching Samuro here to make sure he doesn't get too much value. Mal'Ganis is kind of doing that. You are much more suited to that than Mal'Ganis. Even though you don't really win versus Samuro, the Samuro is, what did he say, not good at the video game, and will probably just let you kill him. Or at the very least will like run away. He won't kill you. Even if he does kill you, you can still sit behind your gate. You have a tap up. You still have plenty of sustain just from smacking his clones. So you can at the very least clear waves as he pushes them into you, at minimum. So you could be doing that. You could be pushing out mid as well, clearing mid, providing some threat mid, so that while the enemy team is worrying about your team here pushing into their keep, they're also losing mid keep. You could do that. You could even go solo like one of these camps. I don't know. Okay, actually, I think this siege camp is worse than doing your turret camp for the reasons discussed before. This just doesn't do much. No, actually, no. I think this does do more because in this case it proxies the wave, so Samuro doesn't push as well. So if you don't want to match Samuro, you could go solo. No, no, I take it back again. This camp is worse because if Samuro notices you soloing the camp, he goes and fights you and you lose that. Assuming, they're a competent Samuro, so he probably actually loses that if he tries to fight you, but we'll ignore that. So you could be taking this camp, which I don't think is a good idea. You could even take this camp. Also don't think it's a good idea because you're Leoric, you don't do camps quickly. You could even be with your team, helping to push out bot and just threatening this keep. Honestly, I think this is the best play. I think your better play is you clear mid and then just go bot, like fuck the top fort, whatever. Someone maybe gets that eventually. But you're just gonna win the game here, so who cares? Yeah, and because you being here, you have the silence on Tomb, and if you remember your R button exists, literally anyone who peeks their head out, well, Samaro's up top, so Vala or Anduin peek their head out of the gate, and Tomb, instant kill. You can even just hover them. You can do this camp instead. Still don't think it's a good idea. Leoric doesn't really do camps, but you're doing your camp. This camp does not take advantage of any kills you have. Like, even if you want a turret camp, their turret camp is marginally better because it denies a turret from them. And it's free because they're all dead. They can't stop you. And you're in the range of your team in case something goes wrong. Like, I think this is actually one of the worst plays you could be making on the map at the moment. Because like if you're over here, this Vol is dead. Like if you're over here pushing this wave, Vol steps up, she's dead, easy. She might die here in a second, honestly. I'm very curious. Oh yeah, that'll do it. Oh no, never mind. Anduin bails her out. Alright, so now that you've gotten your camp, where are we going? Certainly not to push with our team, I guess. No, we're going, but you should absolutely be mid here. If you play your cards right, this protector ends the game. Again, like a silence on Tomb on this Vala or the Anduin kills her. Okay, maybe not on the Vala because the Anduin's with her and he pulls her out. But still, it uses cooldowns. What? Ah, that's weird. Yes. So still not contributing anything. Still not contributing anything. We're pushing mid here. Like, your team is in a position to end the game. I'm not kidding. Like, if you're here and you're applying pressure with your team and you land in a tomb and Zebo could kill what's in the entomb and the protect, like, you can win the game. This protector, if it's sufficiently unopposed, kills this keep and then the core. Now, again, if it's not necessarily like if they play right and they don't give you money and tomb opportunities, they can whittle this thing down, but it can at least get a keep. Instead, the third objective of the game at 17 minutes at level 21 is going to fail to get a keep and actively is going to lose someone, actually. Multiple summons? Now we're just going to go 1-for-1 and like get half a wall. Alright, so what is our plan here? You're 1-for-1. I do like this rotate down. I think you can get a kill here if you're here and you hit an tomb on Anduin, he dies. So let's see it. I think you can absolutely go around the flank, because again, if you hit the Anduin with the tomb, he dies. You can solo kill him at this point. Apologies, drink some water. Yeah, he's last you saw, he was low enough that if you hit the entomb, your auto attack build, you could kill him. So yeah, and he still is. No, yeah, you definitely can. If we rotate down here, go through the conveyor, hit the entomb here, if you hit both of them, even, absolutely a kill. It's even numbers. Shoot, entomb this guy. This guy dies too. He's too far away from Anduin to pull. Anduin's actually dying too. Shoot. Okay, he just dies anyway. That's fine. Press E, go forward. If you could catch the Chromie, she dies. Unfortunate. Okay. And be with them. Be a threat. Mal'Ganis doesn't really have that much engaged pressure. Deckard does. But Mal'Ganis doesn't really have that much threat for like a Chromie stepping up. Entomb. Entomb. She dies. She. Okay, good. Yes. Now walk forward and hit her. Excellent. Cool. It is 18 minutes, level 22. I believe this is like the first useful entomb you landed in at least 10 minutes. That was a good entomb, finally. Alright, now go hit the core. There's 3 of them dead. Oh my god, please hit the core. There's 3 of them dead. I beg of you. You win the game if you hit the core here. Oh. My eyes, holy crap. You've literally got Samuro up here doing absolutely nothing. The only person in this vicinity who can hit you is Vala. And, like, she's scary, I guess, but she's also going to int to you. Like, you know this. You've seen how she plays. And you still have multiple ways to pressure her out. Like, you end the game if you're hitting core right now. Lycus has the right idea. Instead, like, we're defending our fort, I guess. Oh my god. My eyes. Okay, I mean, this is, I guess, also good. Like, at this point when they're up, this is the best play. Drop Entomb, by the way. Like, the Vala walks in, drop Entomb. Any Entombers? Any Entombers? That's a good Entomb, finally. Alright, focus the Anduin. Good. Alright, and you win the game. Hey, look, Dance of Death, lol. Alright, we're gonna mount up, and we're gonna right-click on core. Even not here means maybe you can't win. Hey, nice engaged by Deckard. Just walk up and right-click the core, please. I'm begging you. Alright, you have to peel back and hit them now. Go hit the Muradin. Stop using poking W's. Help your Tychus out, please. Like, Tychus wants to end. This top keep doesn't matter. Help your Tychus. God, that Deckard is able to keep both of these two alive long enough. That's a good entomb, by the way. I actually want to go back and see that again, because I was too focused on, like, Deckard pulling victory from the jaws of defeat. Fortunately, he's able to keep both of these two alive, because otherwise, you 3 are throwing the game. Yep, entomb is very good here. Alright, cool. You figure out how to use your entomb button eventually. Now right-click core. So stop walking backwards, just keep right-clicking core. It doesn't... It's not a damage threat on you at level 23. Alright, cool. Rewind a little bit so we can see the game still. Alright. Quick talent discussion. Looks fine. Standard auto attack build. Yeah, I think Buried Alive is also... Yeah, Buried Alive is the play this game. Okay. The talents look fine. Alright, big things. A, you're absolutely not soaking enough. You spend far too much time with your team, and you're not even accomplishing anything. Like, there's multiple times here. I'm not sure if you even did anything meaningful before the Entomb on Vala went in a team fight. Or, sorry, the Entomb on Chromie over here. The bot team fight you didn't. The top team fight you didn't. Or, sorry, the bot objective you didn't. The top objective you didn't. The mid objective, I also don't think you did. Like, maybe you'll know because you spent a lot of the time just sitting on point, not doing anything. Yeah, I don't think you actually contributed anything to team fights, like in general. So I hope that kind of shows like how important the soaking is. Like even though you're sitting with your team, you're not actually gaining anything. Every win your team got here, large. I'm not going to say completely, but largely, uh, the victories your team got at each team fight was not due to you. It was due to like the enemies turning their brain off and walking into your team and just dying, or someone else finding something. And I don't think you landed a useful entomb until right here. I'm trying to remember. I remember a lot of the times you didn't. Most of the time you just kind of forgot you had an entomb, but you didn't press entomb at all. Yeah, because you didn't press entomb at all down here. Up here you pressed it like here and it got nothing, and then it came up and you didn't press it. Over here, of course, you didn't have entomb. You did press it once over here when you were like 1v3 and it didn't do anything. Yeah, I don't I might be wrong. I have a feeling like in the back of my head that you pressed entomb at one point and it was useful, but there are plenty of points where you didn't. So, yeah, big points. Soak a lot more. Stop sitting with your team doing nothing. You want to 1 second. Your big goal is an off lane. Your default is getting soak. You want to be with your team when one of two things are true. Either there is a um, notable advantage you can take, a notable advantage you can use to rotate your team and get a win. That can be a talent to your advantage if you get 13 maybe, and you rotate over and take a fight of a talent tier. That's great. It could be you have an important cooldown up for Leoric, that's Entomb. So every time you have Entomb up, you could look to see if there's a good rotation opportunity. It could be you're just ahead of your opponent, like even if everything else is equal, maybe like the team's down here, you're double soaking up here, you've cleared this wave, they're still up here. You just want to rotate down and look for something. That's also an advantage. That's one of the things you want to look for. The other thing could be something important to fight over. So that's like objective points, camp invades. If like your team's trying to invade, you want to go help them. Um, those are the two big things. But like anything useful worth fighting over. And actually, that also counts if the enemy team is just too far up. Like if you're double soaking these two lanes or something, teams are down here, and the enemy team's like up here. You could that might be worth fighting over. You could rotate down and look for something because they're just so far up that there's very good odds you get value. So you want to look for one of those two things. Ideally, you want both of those two things. Like for example, you have a talent tier, but like the enemy team's under their fort. There's nothing you can rotate for. And you do control when you have advantages. Like you control when you have talent tier advantages because you've got good soak. You know when your cooldowns are up. You can with good rotations and good wave clear, you can get fly over your opponent, that sort of stuff. When neither of, now you can rotate when neither of those things are true. I'm not going to say it's a hard and fast rule, and even if one of those things is true, you may not want to rotate. It's just a window when you might want to think about it. But when there's no reason to be with your team, you don't want to be with your team. So if you're double soaking, you rotate down to your team, you drop Entomb. Uh, Ideally, you get a kill. Maybe you stay afterwards if the fight is still fierce and like people are literally like in melee range with each other, hitting each other. You maybe stay for a little bit to help finish off the fight, and then you immediately leave. If you drop Entomb and miss Entomb, if the fighting is like super fierce and they're just not respecting your rotation and they're like still up there, maybe you can still try and fight. But after that, if Entomb misses and they just back off, you back off too. You leave, and that includes team fights. If you're at a fight, you drop Entomb and they back off, you leave. You always want to be getting soak if there's nothing else to do. And many times you're at a fight, you're not really doing anything. You could be hitting minions and getting your team to a higher talent tier advantage. That's your job. Your job isn't to babysit your team. It isn't to be at every team fight. Your job as the offlaner, fundamentally, is to get the soak your team can't get. That's the point of the offlane role. Like your secondary jobs are, maybe to play as a second tank, to have some supplementary engage, to have something worth rotating to the team for, to rotate at specific times, to bully the enemy offlane off soak. Those are all secondary jobs. Your primary job is to get the soak your team can't get. If you don't, unless you have a very, very good reason for not doing that, you should be doing that. So that's the number one piece of advice. Like, even after Iberia's first review, apparently this is an improvement over the first time, but you're still not getting nearly as much soak as you should be. Yeah, that's one thing. And then the other thing, some minor mechanical stuff, combo Q with W. Stop using poke W. So many times you throw W and like it just gets broken early, or people just walk out because it's max range, or plenty of times it just misses. This is a little difficult here because the only person you can reliably get that on is Muradin, so look to pressure Muradin. Use your abilities in conjunction to get a full W to get more damage, more healing for yourself. And then, yeah, Entomb, you need to work on a lot. Rip that thing as soon as someone steps in range, that's killable. Someone, like, I mean, I don't know, go back, just throughout this VOD, I've been saying, like, drop Entomb, drop Entomb. I hope that's getting through. Like, if someone steps into Entomb range and, like, your follow-up is remotely nearby, drop Entomb. It is 4 seconds of quote-unquote CC. That's so much, you can think of that almost as mosh pitting them. If your team, like, trust your team to follow up if it's remotely nearby and provide that threat of Entomb. If you don't pull a trigger, you're not threatening. Especially with Silence Entomb. Silence Entomb will kill someone straight up because they're just silenced in there. They can't do anything. Now, that like Anduin is a little bit of a problem because he can pull people out, but plenty of times you could have entombed Anduin too, or you knew his pull was down, and even if he does pull out, now his pull's down. Something has to force his pull. He's not gonna just use it randomly. Make him work for it. Because if you make his pull down, then like Deckard's next engage hits and he can't pull out of that. Stuff like that. Don't wait for, like, your team as a whole needs to throw abilities to force him to pull. Uh yeah, I think those are the main things. Get way more soak, be way better with looking for entombs, use your QW correctly together. I'm trying to think of any other major points. I mean, these other minor points I brought up here and there, but I think those are the big ones. Oh, wave clear efficiency. That's the other thing, right? Let's go into try mode here and show how to clear a wave as Leoric. Alright, we're going to turn the heroes off. They don't matter. Take this. Toggle minions again just so they crash for us. Alright, so here at level 1, what we're going to do is cleave 4 times, crit whatever is reasonable to crit, and then Q at the last. So we're going to get to the side of the wave, cleave, cleave, we'll crit like this guy, cleave, cleave, and actually we can just Q. We didn't even need the 4th cleave. Let's do it a couple more times. Because you see how we were getting cleave on there in that entire wave? You see how quick that was? And it gets, even then, like Leoric's level 1 clear is not great. I mean, it's good if you do this correctly. If you don't do it correctly, it's really bad. Alright, you're gonna start by doing a cleave, crit, crit, cleave, or crit, cleave. Actually, we can just Q and then cleave at the start. Okay, so 3, in this case, we need 3 cleaves. Yeah, and we crit this guy over here because we didn't catch him in the cleave. Show it one more time, and then the last time we'll show more what you did, just so you can see the time comparison. All right, now we have a crit charged up here, so we're going to open with crit, cleave, cleave. We'll crit this guy, cleave, cleave, Q, waves cleared, mount up, and leave. This guy dies quick enough that we still get the XP. Alright, now we're just going to show, let the wave crash and show what you did. And like, the time difference just gets worse with levels, because, like, at higher levels, a cleave just does so much health. So what you're doing is, like, this. Yeah. I hope that's at least noticeably slower for you. And it gets even slower with the differences gets even starker with levels, because eventually you can just like eventually at higher levels you can kind of just like cleave Q a wave, and the difference between like one cleave and Q hitting a wave versus like cleave like Q cleave if you're not hitting cleaves on the entire wave is astronomical. And then just to show, I mean, the QW combo is not that difficult, but just like Q and then immediately W, because they'll be slowed in the Q, which makes it a lot harder to dodge the W. And if I actually just set cooldowns here, just want to show Wing someone in melee is almost instant. Wing someone at max range, significantly longer delay, and they could just walk out of it. Oop, broken. Versus this melee guy, you can walk with them if they try and run away, especially once you have boost speed and to slow on them, you're basically, unless they use a movement ability, they're stuck. If you like W someone at max range, that's like almost missed. They just move out of the way, use like any tiny blink or whatever, and they're out. Yeah. Hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, follow-ups, let me know, of course. I'll type up a summary as well, but I definitely recommend watching this entire video. And beyond that, good luck. Look forward to your development as an offlane player. Leoric especially. Love Leoric. Was my first main. So one of my highest level characters. Great hero. Lots of fun. Hope you continue to enjoy him and improve on him. So, good luck with your games.